Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life.W.Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat, but if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting-related content, and I would love if you would like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's love you friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. If you are unfamiliar with what a WIP Chat is, a WIP Chat is when I talk about my current WIP, WIP, which is work in progress. My current WIP is A is 4. It is by Shay Jay Reed. It is from the Ever After Diamond Painting Company. I did do an unboxing for this. I will link that up in the eye. And you can work on, whatever it is that you want to be working on. It can be a craft project. It can be a household project. It can be while you're running errands, while you're driving, while you're doing chores, while you're working, while you're pretending to work. Whatever it is you want to be doing, there's no right way or wrong way to WIP and chat. So yeah, I am just going to grab a couple colors here while I chat with you guys. I am going to apologize real quick for basically being MIA. And that's as far as my apology is going to go, because I shouldn't have to apologize for taking time for myself. But I have just been in a place for the last, pretty much all month. I just really have been struggling. There was a small chain of events that just kept making it harder and harder for me to pull myself out of it. I'm not really going to go into detail about it, because while I am open and honest with you guys, and I share a lot with you guys here, not everything needs to be discussed or dissected or whatever. I have said it many, many times, and I will continue to say it. It's okay to not be okay. And I really just have not been okay. And with that comes not really wanting to get on camera and chat, and also not really wanting to put in the effort to make content for you guys, or for myself, if you want to describe it that way. I love diamond painting, but I also feel like the way that I've been feeling, it just feels like a chore to come and take myself away from whatever it is that I need to be doing and to diamond paint. And, I like it better when it's like a happy escape for me and not something that makes me feel like full of dread. So for those reasons, I've kind of pulled back. I did promise you guys a post review on the Dreamer Designs kit, which I'm going to be completely frank with you guys. It is sitting next to me rolled up. It's been rolled up since the retreat. I have not touched it. I took all of my pictures at the retreat and then said I was going to film a post review, and I haven't. I will. And honestly, another reason that I haven't pushed myself to do it. Spoiler alert. I did not enjoy working on that kit. I love the image, the overall image. It came out beautifully. And if you want to see spoiler photos, I have them posted on my Instagram, which if you're ever trying to figure out how to find me on social media or how to get a hold of me, because I know every one of you is going, Lindsay, how can I get in contact with you? I'm kidding. All of my contact information is down below. My Instagram is listed. My email is listed. And feel free to reach out. But I did post all of the completed photos and whatnot there already. Listen, whenever I do film the post review, some of this is going to be redundant. And I know there are some people out there who think well, you just don't like Dreamer Designs. Which, to be fair, Dreamer Designs has continuously let me down. So, there's that. But, at the same token, I'm working on a square kit right now. And this reminds me of, why I typically would say, oh, I don't really have a preference. I mean, listen, if you're giving me the exact same thing in round or square, I'm probably going to choose the round. Just because I'm going to move through it faster. I tend to enjoy that more, but I am not one of those people that's like, I will absolutely not do a square kit. I'm also one of those people that if going round means it's putting it into an uncomfortable size for me, I will choose the square kit. If they are rendered, okay. If you are unaware, and I'm not saying this as like an expert, but the round kits and the round drills and the square drills are different sizes. If you did not know, they are 0.3 millimeters in difference. So if you have a company like Dreamer Designs, for example, that renders their kits to a specific size and not to the image itself, if you do a round kit to 60 by 80 and you do a square kit to 60 by 80, the renderings are going to be slightly different. And sometimes that means not as many colors or you lose some details. If you are another company like Diamond Artisan, for example, if they offer something in a round and a square, it is rendered to each size. So if you're doing that, your square kits are going to come out slightly smaller than your round kits because they are rendering the image basically the exact same way, but they're just putting drills on that are smaller. Mathematically speaking, that's how that works. Dreamer Designs does not do that. Dreamer Designs goes, here's your image. It's this size. We're going to squish it or stretch it to make it work. And they do. And I just completed a square kit of theirs for that. That's the mystery kit, if you guys are unsure of what I'm talking about. And there was a lot to be desired in terms of them, the way it was rendered, the way it was assembled, their charting, all these things. Whereas this is also a square kit. And I am thoroughly enjoying the process of it. So, thankfully, coming out of a kit that didn't make me enjoy the process, because I'm not one of those people that goes, it'll all be worth it in the end, the final product. If the process of doing it makes me dread doing the craft, then it's not doing it correctly. Do you know what I mean? And maybe you're not like that. Maybe you're one of those people, because there are people out there who like literally are like, I just need it to be done, and I just want it to look good. And for me, if I'm not enjoying the process of doing it, like I'm not going to have that excitement when it's over. I'm going to be like, all right, I'm done. Finally, thank God. Let's move on to the next. Or I will toss it, which in the grand scheme of things, I've only ever tossed one kit, and I have only ever put one kit aside because it was doing to me mentally what that Dreamer Designs kit was doing. And I'll be honest, the one I had to put aside was also a Dreamer Designs. I did come back to it after I felt rejuvenated, which is, I don't like to work on two kits at the same time. But the other kit was not a Dreamer Designs. It was, I literally, after like the second day, was like, I can't do this anymore. And that's a small shop, and I'm not going to sit here and bash them. And I didn't ask for a refund, but they refunded me, or they offered to refund. I don't even remember. This was a while ago. But anyway, so I've just, when you're not enjoying the process and you're not enjoying what's happening in your life at that moment, and the thing that's supposed to make you happy is no longer, like, I don't want to burn myself out and just not have this at all. I will say I am also one of those people. I know there are a lot of people who diamond paint, and like, they have to sit down and diamond paint for at least a couple minutes a day. They just have to get that in there. I don't. Obviously I would love to. But that's not always an option in my day-to-day life. And I just want to get back to when life and diamond painting both make me smile at the same time. And I'm working on it now. That being said, life has been lifing. Also, one of the other reasons why I don't diamond paint as much, I have an awful sleep schedule. Thanks, perimenopause. But I don't sleep much at night. And I mean, like, when I tell you guys, like, I don't sleep much, I mean, I might get a couple hours of sleep in a night, maybe. And then I am oftentimes awake at 5 a.m. for my kids' morning ice. And then I am still expected to do, like, all the things that I am expected to do. And so oftentimes, because I'm not getting enough sleep at night, I will come home and I will crash during the day, which then makes it harder for me to sleep at night because I took a nap during the day, like a long nap, not like a power nap, which sometimes those work for me, but most of the time it takes too long for me to fall asleep to take a power nap. But anyway, I'm not here to just like piss and moan about my life, but I just sometimes if I am given the opportunity of like, okay, I have 2 hours that I don't have anything I'm committed to at the moment, and I will take those 2 hours and I'll take a nap instead. And that's just reality for me, and that's fine. You know, I don't know what my kids' schedule is going to look like in the summer, and for all I know, it'll be just the same, or maybe even worse because she hates sleep. But we'll see. We'll see. But I am just, I've really, if you're chronically ill, you probably are familiar with spoon theory. But if you're not, the idea of spoon theory is that every person is given a limited amount of spoons. Imaginary spoons, not physical spoons. And every task that you have to do costs a different level of spoons. And for somebody who is dealing with like mental health issues or chronic illness or similar things, you have your spoons, and then typically when you run out of spoons, metaphorically, you crash. And different tasks can take more or less spoons for one person than another. For example, if you're somebody who has never understood why anybody could struggle to take a shower, that's obviously a task that doesn't take a lot of spoons for you. It is not the same for everybody. I have definitely been in one of those terrible, shame-filled depression holes where, like, the idea of taking a shower just feels like too much. I also am neurodivergent, and sometimes I know once I get in there, it's going to be so much easier, but sometimes just the idea of having to do that task is just too much. Now, for somebody going through a situation like that, it might take more spoons for them to take a shower than somebody who is like, ooh, shower, yay, and hops right in, gets out, and hops right out. Spoons can also be given by being there, by showing up. If you're somebody who is, why do I hear a really high-pitched? If you are somebody who is like extremely introverted, you will also understand that like having to show up and do something social might drain your battery to the point that you need like a day or more to recover from said social activity. But then there are other people who like going and spending the day hanging out with their friends recharges them. Okay? So for me, I was in a situation where I gave a lot of my spoons to someone else. I gave a lot of myself to someone else, and I don't feel like I've been given any spoons back. And I've just been sitting there with an empty drawer. And it's not somewhere I want to be, and I'm mad about it because I kind of put myself in the situation. And I really didn't want to be in that situation. But I also knew that if I abandoned the person that was needing me in that moment, that there would be nobody there to come pick up those pieces. And unfortunately, it was not just me. It's other people dealt with this as well. But like, it wore me out in a way that I have not been able to recharge. And it's making me question how I share my time and how I share myself with others, because I'm no good to my family if I'm no good to myself. And something that's supposed to be bringing me joy and happiness shouldn't be something that's bringing me down. And I just wanted to be a good person and a good friend, and it just was too much. And weeks later, I'm still struggling to get back to myself. And, we've all interacted with people in our lives who, like, just don't seem to get that, like, they have to take care of themselves. Like, it cannot be everybody else's responsibility to pick up the pieces. And unfortunately, this particular interaction, I don't think that the other party is ever gonna figure that out on their own. And I just can't be that for them again or anymore, or however you want to describe it. And it's just been super, super exhausting, because I'm just waiting to have my cup filled back up, and it's not happening. Part of that is because I don't have time to really, like, fully recharge. You know, I know there are some people who swear by the saying, but I absolutely hate when people say we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Yeah, on paper, we do. But, like, in reality, we don't. Some people have that ability to get up before their whole house and take time for themselves, or to take care of themselves better than others because of the support system they have around them. It's really freaking hard to do things when I have to plan my entire day in the window of time that my kid is at school. And that's for, like, a lot of things. Like, I was talking to my parents, and they were talking about something, like, health related, and, like, my dad just didn't understand why I didn't just go to the doctor. This was a while ago. And it's like, well, because I don't just have that capability to just drop everything and go to the doctor. I know that's also a foreign concept to some people, because maybe they don't have a lot that they have to drop, and that's something they can prioritize, but it's not for me. That's something that I can't just, I've got a kid that's in school that solely depends on me during the day. And yes, when my husband is off, he is always around and helpful. But, like, I can't have my husband take the day off so that I can go schedule an appointment for certain things. So, like, for example, I have an eye doctor coming up, which I'm also really annoyed about. But I'll tell you guys that in a minute. But I went to Lens Crafters last year, and so they, like, automatically rescheduled me for a year out, which is fine. And then I went to, I was like, I know I have an appointment coming up. I don't know when, but I know I have one. So I try to log into my Lens Crafters account. Can we normalize, like, as a society as a whole, can we normalize when a website requires you to have a password to log in, that you put on the login page what your password requirements are? Because if you're one that requires me to have 10 characters, a number, a letter, a punctuation, a special character, whatever, then I know I'm using a different password than one that doesn't require that. So I go to log in, and it's like, incorrect. I go to log in again, incorrect. And I'm like, I'm going through, like, the list of passwords that it could be, right? And then finally it tells me that I've been locked out of my account for too many attempts. And I'm like, okay. And then it says, you've exceeded 15 attempts. I mean, ever? Sure, that's totally accurate, because every time I log in, I have to try the laundry list of passwords, because I don't know which one it's going to be. Was it 15 attempts that time? No, it was like 3 attempts. But then it wouldn't let me into my account, so I couldn't see when my scheduled appointment was, nor could I adjust it. So then they must have known, oh, she's trying to figure this out. And then, like, it literally, they called me to confirm the appointment. I'm like, oh, well, fun fact, I didn't know that's when it was because I couldn't get into my account. And they're like, oh, did you want to confirm it or do you need to cancel it or change it? And I had to change it. It is on a Tuesday at like 4:30. And I'm like, well, or 4 o'clock, whatever time it was after school. So I was like, well, that sucks. I can't do that. And it was also a day that like, I was already, my husband was going to be at work at that time and I'd still have to go get him. It didn't work. So they had no problem adjusting it for me. Great. Thank you, Lens Crafters. But then I get a call a couple days later from somebody who is very clearly reading a script and it's like, hi, is this Lindsay? I'm calling from the Lens Crafter location at, and then it was a person, not a robot. And they were reading off all these things and they were like, we're calling our valued customers and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I already have an appointment. I have it scheduled for later this month. And the girl's like, oh, and then she keeps reading from her script. And I was like, is there anything else that you're calling in regards to? Or like, because I already have an appointment. And she's like, oh, and then she like starts her script over. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go then. Like, I got to go. So anyway, my favorite part about that whole interaction was when they called to confirm my appointment. They said, you have an eye exam scheduled. And I said, okay. And they said, you have an appointment. And I said, okay. And they said, is this for an eye exam or do you wear contacts? And I was thinking to myself, yes, yes to both. I don't know how this is in other countries. So if you live outside of the States, please let me know. But I would like to know what person decided, first of all, that eyes and teeth are not part of the human body, that those are things that we need to pay additional insurance for. I still can't comprehend why that is a thing. But did you know if you have glasses and you have contacts, that one eye exam does not cover both, but you're also not covered to get both done in a year? Okay. But your contacts, the prescription is only good for a year. So what I always have to do is I always have to reorder another year's worth of contacts before that 1 year ends so that I have enough contacts for the following year, because I can't get a separate eye exam for my glasses and my contacts. Well, normally I just do contacts, and every once in a blue moon I'll do the glasses because it's changed that much or whatever. Well, this time around, I need to get myself like a real pair of glasses. I need to spend the money to do all the things that I never want to do because I wear contacts all the time. I don't like wearing my glasses, not for like vain reasons. I am somebody who I feel like I am constantly in a fish tank. Everything feels rounded. I feel like I don't get as good of vision with my glasses as I do with my contacts. I also have absolutely no depth perception, which is really great for like when you're walking and you smash into a wall because you didn't realize that you were cutting the corner too close, or when you have trouble walking up or down the stairs because you can't tell where the next stair is. I also am at that point in my life where I'm going to have to probably get bifocals. Not super excited about it, but I think one of the reasons that I struggle is because I always get like the cheapest pair, the cheapest plan, the cheapest everything, because I don't wear my glasses enough for me to justify spending hundreds of dollars on thinning out the lenses and putting the anti-glare and doing this and doing that. Well, now I'm going to do it because my eyes have gotten to the point now where they're like tired. Like they don't want to wear the contacts all the time anymore. And like, I get it. Eyes, you're working hard. You want a break. But I need to be able to see if you're taking a break. So, I've got that coming up, and we just had an eye exam for my kiddo, which this is also ridiculous when it comes to like health insurance. So I have a kiddo that is finishing up first grade. She has been wearing glasses since the summer between preschool and kindergarten. And this is her third pair of glasses that she has on right now, and her third prescription change. since 2 years ago. Is that right? Well, the insurance, notice the change in tone. The insurance only covers one pair of frames every other year. So the next time we will be able to get a pair of frames covered by insurance would be January of 2026. Well, by January 2026, my child will probably have yet another eye exam from the one she just had. And I understand maybe not wanting to cover replacements as much because, like, kids are usually destructive and it costs more money. I get that. But, like, kids' eyes tend to change more rapidly. So that is real frustrating. So I took my daughter to get an eye exam last week. Guys, when it rains, it pours. Last week we had an eye exam scheduled. We also ended up with a GI appointment that was actually scheduled for December, which was the soonest we could get. But they had a cancellation for the same day, and I was like, absolutely. So she ended up missing school for the whole day. And I'll get back to that in a minute. But we did the eye exam, and she wanted new frames. And when they said that they wouldn't be covering anything until January, you know, of course, as a little kid, she burst into tears because she was like, I want these new glasses. And this child picks expensive, fancy designer frames. But also, as a parent, it's my job to make sure that my kid is going to continue to wear her glasses. And if a fancy pair of frames is the thing that's going to keep them on her face, like, obviously I'm going to make it happen. But if you are somebody who does not wear glasses, like, let's just talk about, without insurance for me to pay for my kids' glasses, like the frames and the lenses out of pocket, it would have been over $1,000. And it's because of her prescription. And then this time we actually added like an extra protective layer on the glasses because there's a ton of scratches on them. And especially since they don't cover new ones all the time. And then because she wears glasses all the time, we do the transitions for her. And that's an additional fee. So for the lenses, the transitions, the frames, all that. So, I mean, thankfully I didn't have to pay nearly that much because insurance did cover quite a bit when it came to like the eye exam and the lenses themselves. But the frames I did pay for out of pocket, which, fine. But I was like, yo, girl, like, she literally picked out, if you guys heard the story before, so her current frames are Dolce & Gabbana, or Gucci & Gabbana, as she calls it. And to her, that doesn't mean anything. Like, she doesn't understand what a designer is. She just knows that she likes fancy things. But her current frames, they are purple. They sparkle. They are exactly what you think, like, a 7-year-old girl who is, like, super girly would want. So the new frames, they are pink, they are Versace, and they have a little metal heart on the arm, which is literally the only reason this child wanted those frames. And I was like, thanks, kiddo. But yeah, so she had her eye exam, and then they were like, you know, expect it to take a little bit longer for her frames to come in because she's got a more complicated prescription. If you guys know anything, like when a small child has glasses for up close, okay, my kid can't see up close, which is a shock to people who can't see far away. Typically, like when you see babies that have glasses for the same thing, they tend to outgrow it. But ours that's not going to be the case. We obviously didn't get ours as a baby. We got ours when she was 4, 5. How old was she? And she's done really, really well with them. And I will say, she looks super cute in glasses. It's kind of bullshit, you guys. I know you guys have never seen my kid unless you actually like know me in real life, but you ever just see those people who, like, it does not matter what pair of glasses they wear, like every shape looks cute on them, every color looks good on. this kid looks good in glasses. And thank God, because she has to wear them, right? And I want her to feel confident wearing her glasses. But it's bullshit. Because, like, I swear, I'll put on a million frames and, like, this one doesn't suit my face, or this one just makes me feel not confident in myself, or whatever. And I look at her. She put on a pair of orange glasses. Like, can you put these on? Can you just make mommy happy and try these on? She's like, okay. She's like, you know what I look like? I'm like, what's that? She goes, it reminds me of that cat. That cat that likes lasagna. And I go, Garfield? And she's like, yeah, mommy, it reminds me of Garfield. By the way, she looked nothing like Garfield. They were just bright orange glasses. But I was like, how do you look so cute in orange glasses? Like me? No. I mean, orange is not my color. Like, I love my daughter in yellow. I think yellow looks really, really good on her. My daughter and I are similar in coloring. We're both very fair, but she is much more of like a warm tone pale, and I am much more of a cool tone pale. So for me, colors that look great on me aren't necessarily the colors that look as good on her, and vice versa. So, like, I love her in yellow, but like me, I would look like I'm dying in yellow. But anyway, so super long story short, she missed a day of school to get new glasses. And then we went to the GI doctor. So I had seen a GI doctor for her, like, reflux and similar issues when she was a baby into a toddler. Briar had an upper endoscopy when she was 3. They wanted to rule out celiac and eosinophilic esophagitis, which is also known as EOE, and we ruled both of those out. So again, typically, when you have a baby that has reflux, they should outgrow it by their first birthday. And I was constantly told, oh, yeah, she'll be off meds by the time she's 6 months old. Oh, she's still on them? Okay, well, she'll be off meds by the time she's 1. By the time she's this. And, you know, there are some people who, like, their kids get put on reflux meds as a baby, and then they don't even think about, like, oh, shoot, my kid's still on them. Ours was apparent that she needed to be on reflux meds, which, if you guys don't know, like, the history of my daughter, which is totally fine. My daughter was born with an airway disorder called laryngomalacia. It just basically means she was born with, like, a soft, floppy larynx. And so it would, over the airway, when she would breathe, it would, like, flop over. So it would sound like she was breathing in and out, like, of a tube, a straw. She sounded a lot like a pug. If you guys are interested in hearing all of the things about my daughter's health stuff, which I know is not, like, for everyone, I did put up a video a couple years ago, and it was really more, not like for, like, the diamond painting or the crafting community. It was really more for people in our world who were trying to understand my daughter better, or for people in the airway community to not feel so alone. If you are interested, I will link that up in the eye. But anyway, she had an airway disorder, we had feeding issues, we had reflux, we had just a lot of stuff that should have resolved by a certain age, and it didn't. And the first time we tried taking her off reflux meds, it was a terrible, terrible experience, and we not only put her back on, but we ended up having to change the dose or increase the dose, or something had to change. And then there are other people who, like, their kids get put on the medication, and then a few months later they get told, oh, you can take them off, and there's no issue. That was not the case for us. So we had an amazing GI doctor who was part of Nemours, which is based out of Delaware. And he had a satellite office in Pennsylvania, which is where I live. And he was absolutely amazing. And then one day we got a phone call. And if you are somebody who has a great doctor, specialist, primary, whatever, you have a great doctor and you have a great relationship with them, one of the most gut-wrenching things is when you get a call and you find out that they are leaving the practice. So we had gotten a call saying, unfortunately, we need to reschedule your next appointment. And I was like, oh, okay. And when I tried to reschedule it, they wouldn't let me schedule it with him. And I was like, what's going on? And then I basically found out that he had left this hospital system. And I was devastated. And they are not allowed to tell you, like, where the doctors... I mean, I don't know if they're not allowed to or they're not supposed to tell you where the doctors are going. I don't remember how I found out where he was going, but I did. And I promptly followed him to that hospital. And he was worth all of this hassle for, because besides the fact that he had amazing bedside manner, which I feel like a lot of doctors don't, he was... It's going to make me cry. He was the only specialist in my daughter's life that ever actually made me feel like he was listening to what I had to say and not writing me off as like, well, you're a first-time mom, what do you know? So when we had some more recurrent issues lately, not related to reflux, they had said something about, did you want a GI referral? And I said, yes, I have a previous relationship with this particular doctor. Can we schedule? And they said, yes, he's also very popular. We are scheduling all the way out until November. I said, that's fine. Like, it's not an urgent matter. So that's fine. I said, but can you put me on a cancellation list? And it was, I don't know, like a week or two later that I got the call that there was an opening on the same day my kid had her eye exam. So, take a sip of water. So I was like, well, there's no point in taking her to school for like an hour in the middle of the day and then taking her back out of school. So what we did was we had her eye doctor appointment, and then we actually went to the library. If you guys know of any like good summer reading programs, let me know. Book It is back from Pizza Hut. It does not begin until June 1st. So even if my kid is reading a book like today, it doesn't count. There's another one through Barnes and Nobles. I have to get the list. And you have to read from their specific list. It can't just be like, oh, my kid's reading 10 books. But I'm really trying to encourage her to read more, because she went for so long trying to convince us she couldn't read. Which is a whole other story if you guys haven't heard it. But, so she got a new book from the library. And apparently it's a book that she has read, like, on the school tablet. It's a series. Libby Wibbly, something like that. And we went to the library, and she picked up the book, and then she read the entire book in the car to me on the way to the GI doctor. And I was like, girl, let's go get you another one. So she's actually gotten a few more from the library since then that we are going to be returning today. And then she will go get some more. I don't know if my head just got in camera there. I feel like I may have just... So, if I did... whoops. Anyway, so... We go, we have the appointment. You know, he hasn't seen her now in a couple years, but... Either he really does remember her, or he was just really good at acting like it. I think he did. Because it was funny, when she had her endoscopy, if you didn't know this, a lot of kids, I don't know about adults because I don't raise adults. I barely even raise myself. But children tend to have a difficult time coming out of anesthesia, and typically are very aggressive because it's like they're waking up in a place they have no idea, what's going on, or like where they are. And a lot of times with that, children become like physically aggressive and like Hulk it out. And my kid, the nurses were like, she is the best ever. Like, we just want to keep her. And she woke up like laughing and joking and asked for some goldfish, and they just got like the biggest kick out of her. And he did a really wonderful job when she had to go in for her endoscopy. She was not scared at all of getting the anesthesia. And he just really did a wonderful job. There are some people that are truly meant to work with children in some capacity, and he's a brilliant GI doctor, and very thankful we were able to get back in with him. But the hospital that he's affiliated with, they were like, well, we have one at the other location. Would you be able to go there? And I'm like kind of equidistant between the two. Neither one of them are like particularly close to me, but like I can make it happen. You know what I mean? So we went to the appointment, and then they needed an x-ray and some lab work done. And so there was a lab downstairs. Now, did I just put the wrong color down? No, I didn't. Have you guys ever done that? You're like, I just put a whole bunch down and then question if it's the right one. Wait, Lindsay, there's more of this. Don't do that yet. Sorry, I'm trying to put the back in from the container. So we went and we did the x-ray first, and then we went to leave, and then I realized, oh, they said they needed something about a stool sample, but they didn't say anything to me, so I went back up to the office, and they were like, oh, let me find out. And then they were like, oh, they should give you that information downstairs in the lab. Okay, so I go back down to the lab, and they are confused as to why we are there when we just were there. And so they're like, do you need the supplies? And I was like, yes. I'm not walking around. Like, my home does not contain the supplies I need for a stool sample, but so I asked them, because again, as I mentioned, this is not particularly close to my house. I said, I asked the doctor's office, and they told me, ask the lab this information. I said, do you have a list of labs that would be closer to where I live, so that I don't have to drive around with my child's sample in the car? And they go, no. I'm like, oh. She goes, well, I know there's one, and she tells me another city, and I'm like, that's even further away from where I live. So she goes, well, ask your doctor. I said, I did, and they told me to ask you. She said, well, I don't know. And so I'm sitting there going, well, great. I really don't want to do this. And I asked them some other questions, because these are very time-sensitive samples, and I'm not trying to give anybody like TMI here or anything like that, but I said specifically, what happens if she goes at night? And they said, you just bring it in first thing in the morning. Cool, fine. So I go ahead and I call the pediatrician's office, because they are also affiliated with the same hospital, and I was like, hey, listen, is there a lab closer to your office? And they were like, oh yeah, there's one in like the next town over. And I was like, perfect. So that particular one, their lab hours are 7 to 3:30. So unless I'm able to catch something before my kid goes to school, it's during school hours. So then I email the school nurse. You guys, this is like the most comical thing ever. So my daughter has visits with the school nurse on the daily. She needs some additional encouragement to drink enough water throughout the day. And so she goes down there and she earns stickers for doing that. And great, fine. So the nurse is like, if you send the supplies in, I can try to catch it while she's at school. And if she does, then you can come pick it up and take it. And I was like, fantastic. The less that I have to do with this, the better. You know what I mean? Like, sure, great, perfect. So she goes to school, nothing. I'm like, okay. She comes home, nothing. So then we're getting ready at bedtime, and she finally goes, and we catch it. I'm like, awesome. So the next day, my daughter has skating, and we have to be at the rink at 6:30. But I obviously don't want to be driving around with this sample in my car. So I said to my husband, we're going to divide and conquer. After we go to the rink, you are going to take that to the lab and then come back and get us. And he's like, sure, no problem. So he gets to the lab and he texts me and he goes, so I apparently have to wait for some guy. I don't know who he is or what his position is. I was like, you can't just drop it off. And he's like, apparently not. So he's sitting there, you know, holding this stool sample in a cup. And the guy's like, perfect, thanks. Was that your wife I spoke to? Because I had called to confirm that they could take a lab sample from a lab that provided the materials that was not theirs. You know, because who knows? And he's like, probably. And so the guy goes, this was in the freezer, right? Wait, what? What? And my husband's like, no, nobody told us that. And the guy's like, I'm probably going to have to redo it. I'm like, great. All of that for us to probably have to do this again. I've not gotten a call either way, so I don't know for sure. But the whole point is that this sample needs to be processed and the results looked at before our next appointment next month, in like 3 weeks. Because that was why the urgency to get it done. And then, thankfully, the GI doctor decided to run a test that he was hoping would actually help something for a different specialist that we see, instead of having us go through them and having to order lab work, because it's done with the same sample. So it has just been like sheer chaos. My kids got her show this week. And that has also been an interesting thing. So my daughter is in a like theater on ice program, and she is doing a show that is basically like the Descendants on ice. So like the young Disney characters on ice. And they have multiple group numbers, and then they also have some solos. I don't know who has the solos. I'm assuming they are all the older kids. But I guess I'll find that out at the dress rehearsal, which you guys are seeing this the day that the dress rehearsal is. But my daughter has 3 numbers through her group class. And one of them is to the song Happy, Pharrell Williams. One is to Brave by Sarah Bareilles, and one is like a modern version of Be Our Guest. And we got the costumes, and there are 2 costumes for 3 numbers, so I assume she's wearing the princess dress twice. So first they hand me the costumes, and I just looked and I said, who is that French maid costume supposed to fit? Because, like, no lie, the whole thing looked like it was the size of a ruler. And I'm like, this looks so tiny. So I got that, and then I got, like an Elsa, like, dress-up dress. And I took them home immediately, and I tried them on. Now, that French maid costume, I don't know how that thing looks as small as it is, but it fit her like perfectly. There was not a single place that was too tight or pulling or whatever, because, you know, these are usually dance costumes they get, so they are meant to fit like snugly. But the last one we did, like, I had to like contort her body to get in, and it was not just her. Everybody in that size was like, well, these run really small. And it's like child size small, child size medium, child size large. Like, there's not like actual numbered sizing. So anyway, the French maid costume looks great, which reminds me, I need to see if I can find the hot glue gun, because the hat, whatever you call it, came off the headband part, and so I need to reattach that. But anyway, so she got that, and then she got the Elsa dress. Well, I put on the Elsa dress, you guys. I could have fit like 2 of my daughter in that Elsa dress. It was huge. So I email the skating director, and I'm like, so I don't know if this is something that you guys have another size of, or if we can exchange it for something, but this, like, it is, when I tell you it is too big, it is an understatement. It is literally like 3 sizes bigger than what she wears. And because it's a dress-up dress, it's meant to be able to fit over all your clothes. And so not only was it too big, but the mesh part hung below parts that were supposed to be covered. And I also feel like she's going to get stuck in the dress when she's trying to spin or jump or basically just skate. So they emailed me back and told me, bring it back in on Friday. We'll see what we can do. And then I get another email. Never mind, just keep the dress. I'm like, oh, okay. And they said, we have her slated to do either Elsa or Aurora. We have a pink dress for her. Each one of the little girls in this number has a different princess. Now, if they had told us, like if they had said to us, hey, do you guys have any princess costumes at home? If so, please let us know. And then they could have divvied it out. My daughter, not only do we have an Elsa dress, although I don't think it would fit for this, but she has a Tiana dress that I'm sure none of the other kids have. Because Tiana is super underrated and is an amazing princess. And anyway, not the point. So I go in and I pick up the pink dress, which is not actually an Aurora dress. It's the pink bubble dress from Glinda from Wicked, which is my daughter's all-time favorite thing right now. And she has that exact dress. And I'm like, if I had known that, I could have just grabbed the one that we already have. I don't know whose dress this was, but it was donated to us. And then I was told if that doesn't work, that she could wear the blue dress from the last holiday show. There was a blue dress that she wore. It had snowflakes all over it. It totally reminded everybody of Elsa anyway. So I told her that's what I think we're going to do. The other one, it's going to be more obvious because it's a like short sleeve or a sleeveless dress with these little tiny elastic straps. It's going to be super obvious that she's wearing it over a leotard as opposed to the other one, which I think is already a long sleeve dress, so you won't see it as much. Anyway, so all of that is going on. I need to get my kids' skates sharpened. The show is this weekend. They put in a new system, so the rink went completely cashless. The owners of the rink went cashless, so everything is virtual, digital, whatever you want to, whatever. Fine. So they want the tickets to be sold online only. Fine. But you can't add more than one ticket to your cart. So if I want to, for example, we get given one parent ticket per show. So if the other parent is also coming, you have to pay for that ticket. Fine. My husband is going to be there for both shows, not just one, because there's 2 shows back to back. I just put this away and I missed one. I just didn't see that. So I can't even add one to the first show and then one to the second show. I have to do the first one, check out, print that. Go to the second one, check out, and then print that. I also don't have a printer. So I don't know, like I emailed, I'm such a pain in the butt. So I emailed the skating director about it and I was like, so like, is there another method that's going to happen like the day of the show? Because as it stands right now, I have to do every single ticket as an individual purchase. And what they wanted was for us to like sell to our friends and family and then just buy all those tickets with the money that our friends and family have provided for us. There is a link to for the pre-sale, but you have to have an account to do the pre-sale, which means that like my mother-in-law, for example, if she wants to see her granddaughter skate in the show, she has to make this account as if she were registering for classes. And I'm like, there's no way she's going to be able to do this, nor would she want to, nor should she be expected to. There should be like a link where you can just click to check out as guest. That would be the best way for them to make this happen. But I was also told that there would be like a place that they can specify who they're buying the tickets on behalf of. So the last show, if you sold 10 tickets, didn't matter who they were to, but if you sold 10 tickets, that you earned an hour of free ice time. Well, we sold like 18 tickets, so it was great. We earned our hour, and that's great. But the problem is I can't do any purchases right now unless I want to do individual ones. And I don't have a way to get the ticket to any of these people because it's the week of the show. So, like, Briar hasn't been able to invite any of her friends this time around, where, like, a handful of them came last time. So, I'm hoping that this gets resolved tomorrow when we have our dress rehearsal, so that, 3 days before the show, I can actually get tickets for some people, or have them do it without having to, like, give all their personal information. It's just, and I know a lot of this is out of the control of, like, the coaches. Like, they literally are there to coach, not to, they have nothing to do with, like, the operating system. But as somebody who is giving them money, it is frustrating, to say the least. So, I know a lot of people whose kids are done school or are finished this week. My kid still has a couple more weeks. And then comes the dread of, like, the realization of how much is going to be sitting on my shoulders here for the summer. I love my kid and I love spending time with her, but I don't want to spend every single minute of every single day with her, unless, like, I have absolutely nothing that I have to accomplish. Going to get groceries with a child that touches everything and doesn't ever stop talking, is exhausting, and it is a very long process, which is why I do a lot of grocery orders so that I don't have to do that. Excuse me, but even to just run to the store to grab, like, one thing, I'm being asked 50 million questions that have nothing to do with what we're there for, or constantly being asked, can we get this? 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 What about this? Can we get this? We haven't had this in a while. Can we get this? Bro, we don't need that. We literally are here to just get a loaf of bread. But what if I want this? Mommy, I haven't had this in a while. Can we pick this up? Okay, kiddo. Like, but then she has to touch everything on the shelf. And I'm like, girl, just stop touching everything. It is exhausting, you guys. So, but taking away, like, her entire routine of school, which she has done so well with, and just putting everything, like, hey, now you're in charge of every single day, and I have to keep her engaged in whatever it is. And kids don't understand the concept of money. Mine also doesn't understand the concept of time. She's learning it in school, but it still means nothing to her. So it's constantly, can we do this? I want to do something fun. Can we go here? Can we go there? And I'm like, girl, like, mommy's not a walking ATM. And I know every kid is like that. But mine will, like, with her boredom, like, she'll become destructive. So we don't want that to happen. Of course, we have an appointment coming up. Super, super annoying, by the way, which they come to our local doctor's office once a month. I didn't know that. And so we're actually going to do it virtual. But when they went to schedule it, literally the only day that they were coming in that they had availability for the next, like, 3 months was a day that she's at camp. And I'm like, she literally goes to camp for 3 weeks over the whole summer. And it's not something that I can pull her out of camp and then bring her back later that day. Like, it's a very long appointment. They said, like, 4 to 6 hours. I was like, cool. Awesome. And then they also expressed to me that if we needed any kind of, like, lab work done, they don't have a courier. So I would have to drive to Pittsburgh, which that's a whole other story. And I'm praying, because it's a genetics appointment. So I am hoping that we can just do, like, a cheek swab and not have to actually drive to Pittsburgh to go get some freaking blood work done. But if we do, we'll obviously make a trip of it. But I am just, the transition into summer is always a hard one, because I want to make sure that I'm keeping her, like, entertained, but also not leaving the house to go do something every day kind of thing, because that, first of all, nobody's got that kind of time, money, or effort. But it's too much. And I'm already aware that, like, my recording is going to just I have no idea how that's going to happen over the summer. I can't record while she's awake anymore because inevitably, like, I'll be like, hey, kiddo, I got to go upstairs. I'm going to record over your nap time. But she doesn't nap, but it's her quiet time. But then she'll, like, be in her room screaming the lyrics to Pink Pony Club at the top of her lungs. And she jumps so much that, like, the floor, my floor here is her ceiling, because she's directly below me. It'll, like, shake. I'm like, what are you doing? Is there an elephant in your room? Like, what are you doing? We still have yet to figure out how such a tiny kid can be so loud and make such movement. But, yeah, I've just got so much going on my plate. And one of the other reasons why I haven't really, like, come up here to get stuff done is that, like, I'm needed in other aspects, and I already know, like, those are going to drain me and wear me out. But I'm really excited to work on this and complete this. This kit is so cute. I love it so much. I can't wait to, like, finish it and share it with you guys, because I think you guys are all going to really enjoy this company if you haven't checked them out. I am probably going to hit nowhere near the goal that I set for myself in terms of, like, how many I wanted to get done this year, and that's okay. It's that the number to me is not as important, but obviously, like, I'd like to be able to justify, if I'm making purchases, like, getting them done. But I feel like I have so much going on in my world that it's hard for me to, like, take the time to try to replenish myself. And I feel like I have so much I want to talk to you guys about, but I just kind of, like, skipped it. Like, I was also not motivated to talk to you guys after, like, the day after Mother's Day, because I didn't particularly have a good Mother's Day. And it was, like, a bit of a hard pill for me to swallow. But nothing makes you want to, like, come up and share how your week was less than having a shitty week. And not like, oh, I had a bad week and I want to, like, get your opinion on something or your support on something. It's just like, I just want to sit here and, like, wallow in my sadness, but that doesn't make me feel any better. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like I've probably already gone over the hour, but I feel like that's a good place to stop. This is just 2 different colors, one of which is an AB. So, like, this lighter of the 2 here is all AB, so I'm excited to lay those down. Here it is. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I have so much I obviously can talk about. I just talked about, like, 3 things, it feels like. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos like this or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. 1 real life, 1 virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come join the Sparkle Squad. And while you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping or at school. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.